Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel once again. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section after watching the video. Also click on the notification bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Alright, I've been getting lots of requests to do an intro or a total study for those who want to start sight reading. So today is our first class in the sight reading tutorial series. So we're looking at introduction to sight reading. Sight reading actually is a method developed in music to make sure that a musical piece can be reproduced from one place to another in the exact form. And how did this come about? Now, when a musical note is played, it needs to be stored like the way a computer stores data. Now, we have a store in music which we put down in what we call staff notation, so that when one who is read in this particular discipline looks at something written down in staff notation, he or she can decode and reproduce the same thing, just the way computer gets binary codes and reproduces it to us, the viewers, in the way we can understand. Those who understand how to sight read can easily take musical information from the musical staff, and reproduce it the same way the original writer or the original player of that piece intended it to be. Now, the first and the most important tool in sight reading is called the musical staff. It's called the musical staff. Now, from research and studies I've done, I believe the person that brought up the idea of the 5 lines and 4 spaces staff diagram, I think he came up with this idea from the morphology of our hands. Now, if you look at the right hand, you notice you have 5 fingers and 4 spaces in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, representing line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the spaces in between 1, 2, 3, 4, representing these spaces in between. So because we have two hands, we will mostly be looking at two groups of staffs put together, representing what the left hand ought to be playing on the piano, because we are looking at sight reading for pianists, and what the right hand ought to be doing even for the piano. Now, what are those things the staff is supposed to contain so that reading music will be easy? Number one, it is the notes that make up the melody of the song. So on the staff here, you have the melody of the song written most of the time. Also on the staff, you have the rhythm of the song written. So each note carries a duration. It carries an amount of time which accounts for the rhythm that is displayed in the whole piece. Then harmony is also expressed in your staff. If more than one note is sung or played at once, it is usually represented on the staff. So chords are represented too on the staff, or the piece or the sheet music, if anyhow you choose to put it. So that represents the harmony. So you can follow the progression of a song chordally even by reading staff. Then also we have what we call dynamics. Dynamics tells you the flow of music through the piece, how loud this is, how soft this is throughout the musical piece, and you get this represented even on staff. You get other options, as much as repetitions, where to start over, where to end the song. All of that is contained in what we represent on the staff. Like I said before, a staff contains 5 lines and 4 spaces. mimicking the orientation of the human hand. Now, this staff is as good as useless without it showing us the pitch of the sound that is being represented there. Now, when I say pitch, I simply mean the highness or the lowness of a note. So if you just put a note on this staff right now, nobody on earth will be able to play it. Why? Because there is no pitch attached to it. We do not know how high the note should be played or how low it should be played, on which octave of the keyboard should it be played, or on which other octave, with which hands should we play it. Now, this takes us to what we call musical clefs. We'll be talking about the most important for keyboardists. So I will not be talking about the alto clef here, that's the C clef. I'll be talking about the two that are most important to us as pianists. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the G clef, which we also call the treble clef or the right hand clef. This clef is called the G clef because it is drawn from line G, and we'll get to know what line G is in a couple of moments from now. Now, the second clef, which is also important, is the left hand clef or the F clef or the right hand clef. Just as I explained for the G clef, the name F clef implies that our bass clef is drawn from line F. Now, let's go into details with this. Now, your G clef spells out what your right hand should be playing. That means your G clef plays notes above the middle C. The middle C is that C in the middle of your keyboard. Is the C in the middle of your keyboard. So, when you draw your staff lines, 5 lines and 4 spaces, and you draw a treble clef, what this simply means is that this treble clef tells you that whatever note is written within it is supposed to be played with the right hand and not with the left. So this represents notes of the higher register. Most of the time for singers from your alto range upwards. Now, most of the time where the altos and the sopranos find their melodies or their harmonies is usually in this range. So your treble clef represents what the female singers should be doing, that is your alto and your soprano. So we go on further to look at them in order of pitch, because when you start at the bottom here, this is the lowest pitch in the treble staff, because when the treble clef comes into the staff, it automatically transforms into what we call the treble staff. So the lowest note here is E, and this is the E that comes after middle C. Now, after that we have F. F is a space. G follows, and G is the G just above middle C, followed by A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now, if we take just the lines alone, the lines, to remember them is very easy. We have E, G, B, D, F. We can say every good boy deserves Fanta. Every good boy deserves Fanta, and it's easy to remember. You take note of the fact that the pitch keeps increasing. So as you're playing from bottom to top, the sound or the pitch of the notes gets lighter. Then for the spaces, we have what we call F-A-C-E. To remember, you can just put your hand on your face. So the spaces here are F, A, C, and E. And just like for the lines, the pitch keeps increasing as you move from the lowest space at the bottom here to the top. So in our next class, we'll be looking at the F clef. And after dealing with the F clef, we'll now look at the notes in music that make up what we judge as the general rhythm, overall rhythm, and their duration. So please don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel Click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I post a new video, and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section if you like my video. God bless you.